London, England, winter of 2022. A thick fog covered the grey streets of East London like a heavy curtain. The streetlights glowed faintly through the mist. The sidewalks were wet. The silence was broken only by the distant sound of trains and the occasional passing car. Inside an abandoned pub in Stratford, two figures silently scrubbed a blood-stained wooden floor. Their hands moved slowly, tired, mechanical, exhausted. They didn't know it then, but that would be the last time they would ever work for less than £12 an hour. This is the true story of Lucas and Fernanda, a couple from Minas Gerais. Two ordinary Brazilians who crossed an ocean with just £1,500 in their pockets and a dream that bordered on madness. 2 years later, they would have over 120,000 reais saved across British bank accounts. But what nobody tells you is the invisible cost of every pound. They faced post-Brexit xenophobia. They faced gangmaster exploitation. They came inches from being deported by the Home Office. And in their 8th month in England, something happened that almost destroyed everything. A betrayal they never saw coming. This is not a fairy tale. This is the raw, cold, unfiltered truth of what it means to gamble your entire life on a foreign country in 2024. And I promise you, you have never heard a story like this before. Lucas was 29 years old when the idea first took root. In Belo Horizonte, he worked as a mechanic in a cramped workshop with oil-stained floors and broken fans hanging from the ceiling. He earned around 1,500 reais a month, enough to survive, never enough to live. Fernanda, 26 years old, worked as a manicurist in a small beauty salon in the Pampulha neighborhood. Long days, low tips, endless clients, inhaling acetone and dreams at the same time. Together, their income barely covered rent on a tiny 2-room flat with peeling walls and a leaking sink. Every month ended the same way. 0 savings, 0 perspective, only fatigue. But inside both of them, something was slowly rotting. That silent anguish known by millions of Brazilians, the feeling of running on a treadmill that never moves forward, working nonstop, and watching life stay exactly the same. It was in the early hours of an April morning in 2022 that Lucas finally broke. The city outside was asleep. The room was dark. Fernanda was half asleep when she felt Lucas shake her shoulder. What if we went to England? She opened her eyes slowly. Are you mad? We don't even have money for the ticket. Lucas swallowed. What if I told you I already sold the motorbike? The silence that followed was heavy. Fernanda didn't scream. She didn't argue. She simply turned her face to the wall and didn't speak to Lucas for 3 days. But deep down, she knew he was right, because dying of fear was the same as dying slowly. 45 days later, they stood inside an airport in Brazil with trembling hands. Tourist visa, 2 suitcases, £1,500 hidden in different envelopes, and absolutely no guarantees. No job waiting, no legal work permit, no safety net. Only blind faith. On June 8th, 2022, they boarded a British Airways flight bound for London. As the plane lifted off, Fernanda cried quietly. Lucas stared at the clouds without blinking. Neither of them knew if they were flying toward salvation or disaster.
Heathrow Airport, Terminal 5, June 8th, 2022, 16:17. The automatic doors opened, and a wave of cold air mixed with the smell of metal, coffee, and disinfectant hit their faces. Lucas felt his stomach twist. Fernanda gripped his arm so tightly that her nails dug into his skin, but neither of them said a word. Around them, businessmen walked fast with rolling suitcases, families reunited with hugs, tourists laughed loudly. For Lucas and Fernanda, every step forward felt like stepping deeper into a test they might fail at any second. They joined the immigration queue in silence. Lucas had memorized every sentence. Tourism, 2 weeks. Hotel booked. Visiting museums. I returned to Brazil on this date. But memorization doesn't stop fear. The officer was tall, pale, expressionless. He took their passports slowly, looked at Lucas, looked at Fernanda, then at the computer, and then silence. How much money are you bringing into the country? Lucas answered. The officer raised an eyebrow. Where exactly will you stay? Lucas gave the hotel name. He typed, paused, looked again. What is your profession in Brazil? Lucas answered. Then Fernanda. More typing. More silence. Do you intend to work in the United Kingdom? Lucas felt his throat close. No. Tourism only. The officer stood up and called another agent. Their bags were taken aside, phones were requested, messages checked, photos scrolled, bank apps opened, return tickets confirmed. Fernanda began to cry silently. Lucas avoided her eyes. 52 minutes later, the stamp finally hit the passport. They were in. But that moment carved something inside them that never truly healed. They entered the UK legally, but already feeling illegal, already feeling unwanted. Outside the terminal, London was gray, cold, indifferent. No one was waiting for them. No one cared that 2 human lives had just been turned upside down. The Uber dropped them in Newham, East London. The hotel was a basement. No reception, no lobby. Just a narrow stairway going underground. The walls were humid. The carpet smelled of mold. A handwritten paper on the door said, "Rooms, £35 per night. No refunds." Inside, 12 people lived in what once had been storage rooms. Mattresses on the floor, suitcases stacked like bricks, a shared kitchen with a broken fridge, and a single rusty pan. A bathroom with a door that didn't lock. At night, rats could be heard behind the walls. That first night, Fernanda could not stop shivering. The cold in London was different from any cold they had ever known. It invaded the bones. It felt personal. The heater barely worked. Lucas gave her his only jacket. They didn't talk much. They just stared at the ceiling. Lucas counted the money again. £1,500. Rent, food, transport, SIM cards. Everything in pounds, everything expensive. By the 5th night, they realized the truth. At that rhythm, they would survive no more than 3 weeks. On the 7th day, Fernanda broke down. She sat on the mattress and cried like a child, not loud, quiet, tired crying, the kind that comes when there's no energy left. Lucas hugged her and whispered something he didn't fully believe himself. "We'll find a way." That night, one of the Brazilians in the basement approached them. A thin man in his 50s, eyes tired, voice calm, cigarette always between his fingers. His name was Rogério. He listened in silence, then he said, "I know someone who can put you to work tomorrow, cash in hand, no questions asked." Lucas didn't ask many questions either. The next morning at 4:30 a.m., a white van stopped outside. No logo, no company name. Inside, 15 immigrants from different countries sat in silence, faces empty, eyes resigned.
Nobody spoke a word during the entire journey around the M25. They arrived at a massive Victorian house in Kensington. 4 L's. No one said a word. Rogerio just smoked. You're still thinking like an employee. Here you must think like a survivor. That night, Lucas did not sleep. His hands burned. His pride burned more. The next weeks followed the same pattern. Different houses, same exploitation.
Chelsea, Notting Hill, Hampstead, houses where each lamp cost more than everything Lucas owned. Children's rooms bigger than the flat they rented in Brazil. Wine collections locked behind glass doors. And always the same smell of bleach and silent humiliation. Some days they worked 14 hours. Some days 16. Payment was always low, always late, always less than promised. Sometimes the van didn't come back for them. They had to walk kilometers at night in freezing rain. Once, Fernanda fainted in a bathroom from exhaustion. The supervisor didn't stop the job. He just dragged her to the sofa and told Lucas to keep working. Their money still disappeared fast. Transport, food, a little sent to Brazil to calm the family, the rest vanished into survival. They were trapped. Until Lucas remembered Rogerio's words, "Stop being an employee." That sentence slowly transformed into an obsession. Lucas began observing everything: how professional cleaners worked, what products they used, what machines they carried, how homeowners negotiated prices, what rich people cared about. At night, he made notes on his phone in Portuguese, afraid someone might read it. Fernanda, meanwhile, discovered something else. She noticed that rich people cared deeply about before and after, not effort, not time, results, visual results. She began taking secret photos, always careful, never showing faces or private details, just stain and no stain, chaos and order, dust and shine. They didn't know it yet, but those photos would change everything. Fernanda created the Instagram account in secret during one of those freezing nights in the basement. Brazilian Shine London Cleaning. The first post got 7 likes. The second got 13. Then 28. Then a repost by a Brazilian influencer living in London. 2 weeks later, they had 400 followers. A month later, 2,500. Messages started to arrive. Do you clean offices? Do you clean flats? Do you do end of tenancy? They answered all of them at night, whispering under blankets so no one would hear. Little by little, they began taking small private jobs at weekends. £60 here, £80 there. Cash, direct. For the first time, they felt the difference between being exploited and being paid. Then one message changed everything. The message from Charlotte. She owned 3 cafes in Camden Town, artisan cafes, expensive clientele, early mornings, late nights. She needed a team to clean every night after closing. £120 per location, 6 days a week. Lucas thought the message was fake. He checked the profile 3 times. Real, British, professional. They met her 2 days later. Charlotte was direct, efficient, cold. She walked them through the cafes. She examined their Instagram. She asked about availability, about reliability, about equipment. Then she said, "If you can start next week, the job is yours." Lucas and Fernanda left the cafe shaping. £2,000 a week, more than they earned in 2 years in Brazil. But then came the condition. They needed professional equipment approved by British health and safety standards. Industrial vacuum, steam cleaner, uniforms, insurance, chemicals, materials.
The estimate was brutal. 2,500 pounds. They checked their balance, 450 pounds. The dream was closer than ever and completely unreachable. That night, Fernanda did not speak. She just stared at the wall. Lucas walked alone in the cold for hours, trying to find a way out of a labyrinth with no exits. And that was when Rogerio returned. Floors, chandeliers, marble floors, Persian carpets, gold-framed mirrors, a kitchen bigger than any house Lucas had ever lived in. But everything was dirty. Months of abandoned luxury, rotten food in the fridge, dust thick like velvet, bathrooms stained yellow and brown. The heating system was broken. The cold inside the mansion was worse than outside. They worked 13 hours without stopping. No proper gloves, no proper masks. Strong chemicals burned their hands. Lucas's fingers cracked and bled. Fernanda's eyes were red from the fumes. At 9 at night, they were paid. 45 pounds. For both of them. Together. On the way back, Fernanda cried quietly. Lucas punched the inside wall of the van so hard that his knuckles felt.
February 17th, 2023, 1:43 a.m. Lucas's phone vibrated on the bedside table. One message from Charlotte. Contract canceled, effective immediately. No explanation, no warning, no goodbye. Lucas read it 3 times. His chest tightened. The work had been perfect. No delays, no complaints, payments always on time, inspections flawless. He called. No answer. He sent messages. Seen. No reply. Charlotte had vanished. For 2 days, Lucas and Fernanda lived in a fog of disbelief. They continued cleaning their other small clients, pretending everything was normal, pretending the ground had not just collapsed beneath their feet. On the 3rd day, the truth surfaced. Another Brazilian cleaner recognized Fernanda in a supermarket and whispered the news. Rogerio had contacted Charlotte. He offered the same service, 40% cheaper, using even more exploited labor. The betrayal wasn't from a stranger. It was from the man who introduced them to this world, the man who lent them money, the man who knew every detail of their desperation. And now, without their main contract, they still owed Rogerio thousands, and he wanted his money back, immediately, along with subtle but very real threats about immigration. Fernanda collapsed. For 4 days straight, she couldn't leave the bed. Panic attacks, shaking hands, empty stare. Lucas stopped eating, stopped sleeping. He stood for hours by the window watching the London fog swallow the buildings outside. For the first time since arriving, they spoke the words they feared most. Maybe we should go back. Back to Brazil. Back in defeat. Back with shame. Back with nothing. On the 6th day of despair, something unexpected happened. Lucas was sitting alone on a bench in Regent's Park. The trees were bare, the wind cut through his jacket. An elderly woman approached slowly. She spoke Portuguese. Her name was Dona Graça, 81 years old. She had seen their Instagram profile. She asked if everything was fine. And for the first time in months, Lucas told the truth. Everything. The exploitation, the debt, the betrayal, the fear of deportation, the temptation to give up. Dona Graça listened in silence. Then she said something that changed their fate. I arrived in England in 1974 with nothing. I cleaned houses for 40 years. Today, I own 3 properties. I know what hunger tastes like.
I will help you. She lent them the exact amount needed. No interest, no contract, no deadline. Only trust. With that money, they paid Rogerio. They cut him out forever. They burned that bridge without looking back. And Dona Graça opened her own network. Portuguese families, old money, trusted referrals. Within 6 weeks, Lucas and Fernanda had 32 regular clients, real clients, clean contracts, fair payments. They raised their prices. They bought proper uniforms. They invested in equipment. They hired 3 other Brazilians. And for the first time, they became what they had always been denied the right to be. Employers. They paid fair wages. They offered flexible schedules. They gave dignity to people who, like them once, had nothing but their hands to sell. The months passed. Savings grew. Confidence grew. By the 18th month, they had saved £14,000. By the 24th month, over £18,000. And by the 27th month, they reached the equivalent of 120,000 reais. But the most impressive thing was not the money. It was the transformation from invisible immigrants to respected business owners. Today, Lucas and Fernanda remain in London, living legally, managing a team of 18 immigrants, running a registered cleaning company. And when Lucas was once asked if it was all worth it, he answered quietly, "England doesn't welcome you with open arms. It tests you in the cold, in loneliness, in rejection. And if you survive the test, it lets you stay, but you never get back who you were." This was the true story of Lucas and Fernanda. And remember, for every success story you hear, there are hundreds that ended in silence. The British dream exists, but it charges a price few are willing to pay. And the London fog still hides thousands of stories that will never be told.
If this story touched you in any way, if you believe that real life is more powerful than any fiction, and if you want to hear more true stories of courage, loss, reinvention, and silent victories, then subscribe to this channel now, because the next story we tell might look a lot like yours.